guys, and welcome to another edition of Subscriber Replays. As I've said in an earlier video, I do have a lot of replays to cover, and this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to make videos with three replays in them, and this time I've decided to focus on the newer tanks, like this Type 50, Type 62, and the JagdPanther 2 and the IS-6, and yeah, they're new, so I'm going to focus on those, and that's three replays. So replays. So we covered three replays, and here we have Celsius, and he is in the Type 62, and he was just scouting the entire enemy team as they were coming along, missing the M7 because he is playing with the realistic bounce setting on. So when you move forward, you will bounce a little bit forward, and when you move backwards, the cannon will go up into the air a little bit. This can give you an advantage when going up over hills, but in general, it's more of a disadvantage, and most top players don't play with it because I would expect they don't, because they want to be as competitive as possible. So shaking when getting hit and losing your aim would also be something that top players wouldn't like. For me, example, I don't play with it because, yeah, the thing about aiming and then getting hit a little and then whoa, going all over, don't really like it, even though it's realistic. At first I was like, I'm not gonna switch that off, but when I tried it without it, it's just so much easier, and you don't miss getting a shot on a tank when he's right there. So yeah, feel free to switch that off. I'm not gonna judge anyone. And as we see here, Celsius is just hanging back and just firing with his gun on all the targets that are being presented to him, and yep, they took out a lot of tanks by just sitting back and letting the enemy roll forward and just die. And Celsius is now going to take advantage of his speed and the HP he has on the tank, so he can drive in front of a bigger tank, even though this tank has the bad gun, because he didn't kill 1/3 of his health in one shot. That means the gun on the Tiger P isn't that good, because it's the same gun on the Tiger, and the Tiger does, I think it's 240 or 220, can't really remember, but it's not that low, so it's almost a stock Tiger P. He gets another kill by killing the JagdPanther, just driving around and using the reload time to just roll around, having fun. And he proceeds to go for the VK-36 and the artillery down here in the corner. There's also a T-25, which is one of the worst premium tanks I have ever tried, but I do have a replay of that tank going nuts. So I think I'm going to take the underrated tanks and post those next, because some tanks are underrated, but in the hands of a good player or just a persistent player, a player who doesn't just quit after one bad battle, it could be a good tank. I've had one good battle in it, and I think I tried switching some of the ammo out with gold ammo just to see if it would improve, and I actually killed an IS-3 in it, and that's very, very nuts. That's a tier 5 premium tank penetrating the IS-3 from the front. I know gold bullets is supposed to allow you to do that, but still, that was pretty crazy. And after that, I realized that I was only going to stay competitive if I use gold bullets in it. So I decided that tank wasn't for me, and I just couldn't sit in or drive in a tank where I really had to be careful, because the HP is insanely low and everything else is just, the gun shoots fast, but you have to be right behind every single enemy unless it's at your own tier or below, and I always got up against tier 8s and stuff like that. I don't know if if the matchmaker got fixed with this last patch, like it's been fixed with a lot of other tanks, but I just, yeah, when I tried it, it was just okay. He just hit the M6, but he's at 5 kills and he could get and he hit the M6 again. So Lildeucedeuce, and he gets the top gun. But at what cost? At what cost, Celsius? You hit your ally twice. Anyways, never mind that. As you can see, the Scout, Premium Scout, gets a pretty good amount of crits for what it dishes out of damage. 66,000 credits and 2,000 experience points, and for Top Gun, that's pretty good. It didn't do insane amounts of damage, so I suppose if you're up against bigger tiers and you can play around with them and do a lot more damage, it could probably earn you a lot of credits in the end. He did hit a lot of things, but 18 shots, yeah. But let's move on to the next replay. And that next replay is the JagdPanther 2, or JagdPanther 2, but I like to call it by the German name, JagdPanther 2. And this is a tank that I'm really looking forward to playing because the speed, the gun of a 30, and yeah, the mobility of a Panther 2, I've been told by someone, and I'm really looking forward to it, but you really have to be careful with it because of the low armor in the front. It's not the Ferdinand, and even the Ferdinand, you have to be careful as well. It's slower than this, and it has worse armor. Worse armor? No, it has better armor, but it's the same thing. 30, you can penetrate the 30 at the bottom of his hull just as easy as most other tanks. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Ferdinand. I actually really like playing it, but I also didn't like it. There's many things. Here we see the T110 disappearing, but Susgaard decides to shoot anyways, and that's a very good thing to do. And I would advise that to any player. If you see a tank, if you have just aimed at a tank and you see him disappearing, there's no reason for you to not fire and just take a shot, because the tank didn't disappear, it's still there. Do it, take a shot, do some damage without knowing it, and then, well, get pleasantly surprised. I always do it, and I've actually killed, I think it's 2 tanks the last night, I think yesterday. I killed a Bat Chat from very long distance. I think I'm gonna show it. Okay, right now. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna pause this video and show those clips. And here we have the clip. It's in my T30 and I couldn't find the other clip, but as you can see, the Bat Chat disappears long before I fire my shot. And we're back, and as you can see, I fired without knowing where the targets were, but I did know a little where they were. I had seen them just before, so why not take a shot? I got 2 kills, so hooray! Always do it. Always do it. A shell is the cost of a shell is so much worth more if you get the kill by just killing him without seeing him. And it's fun, and you get a kick out of it. Yeah, I just killed him, I didn't see him, and he hadn't moved for like 5 seconds. As you saw on the T30 and the Bat Chat, that was I really loved that shot because there was a Lorraine up there as well, and the Bat Chat disappeared, and he obviously just sat there, decided to sit there. Yeah. And back to the game. Right now, the enemy is pushing hard on northeast, and Susgaard knows this right now, as you can see it on the minimap, and the T28 is already down in the defensive position, and Susgaard decides to just go defensive as well, and tell the other part team to push hard, attack, and he goes down to defend at, it is in J7, and he does this because I really think he thought about this, because it's a very, very good strategy to go down here instead of just sitting up there with the T28, because if you go up there and just sit with him, then the enemy wouldn't it would have 2 targets at the same spot. Here they have to concentrate on two targets at 2 different spots. So they can't just go in there and, like these guys are doing, just go in, hello, and just push as hard as they can, because they have targets on the right side of them from their perspective and straight from the front. So they have to be careful of 2 fronts. And this T110 is just going to go straight for the T28 and have a side shown to Susgaard, and that's not a very good idea. Actually a very bad idea, because he has no chance of winning that battle. Because as you see, the T28 is damaging him from the front and Susgaard is damaging him from the side. So he's going to die, no matter what. Even if he kills off the T28, Susgaard still has enough firepower to kill him in 1 shot right now. And he does. So it's just the KV4 that's left on this side. And it's actually just going to sit there and go back and forth with the T28. So we can actually set the replay speed a little bit up, because Susgaard is only going to bounce on one of them, and the T28 is just going to... Susgaard advise him to just sit there and let him come in just a second. And very good advice, because he has to get around the corner, and to get around the corner he has to get into the open of the gun. And unless he bounces or hits some spaced armor, that's very popular. So yeah, just sit there and wait. And Susgaard decides to try and get back and help, but as you can see, they're capping the base, and he just used a repair kit. That's a good idea if they were in trouble. But as you can see, they're still capping really fast, and there's a lot of tanks in the enemy base. If they were in real trouble, then yeah, great use of the repair kit to fix the engine. But as you can see, it won, and the KV4 tried to get the T28 but still died. So great teamwork and good defense by Susgaard, and it really showed off that the JagdPanther 2 can get to a position where it's a much better defensive position. And that's a really good thing about the JagdPanther 2. He didn't try to be something that he's not, something that can hold back more tanks than one, like the Jagdtiger, because it can go hull down if it has just a little bit of cover. The JagdPanther 2 cannot do that with the low armor. So great game, and let's move on to the next one. And then we get to the IS-6, or the Object 252, as it's called on the old tech tree, and it's still called it because, well, it is the Object something like that, as I just said. But we get to it, and this tank is very sloped for its tier. The people, or the enemies he's going to face at his tier, okay, he's in a tier 9 battle right now, but he's still going to bounce a lot on his armor, because it's I don't really know what kind of hull it is, but it's very similar to the IS-4, but it's not as bouncy, or it is as bouncy, but the armor's less, so smaller guns can penetrate it if they aim correctly. And right now he's just keeping his distance right now, because the 103 is up there aiming. He's carefully moving forward. That's a very good thing, because he is one of the biggest tanks, and he should be moving forward, because if he's just holding back and just sitting down at the just sitting at the back, he's not, his accuracy is worse, and he's not going to help very much. So moving forward is a very good idea. I actually thought that was him, but no. His average damage is 390, so that would have been an insanely low damage roll if that really was him. And the penetration is 175. Yeah. So it's basically the IS gun on a tier 8. And I don't know if anyone would like that, but it's, as you can see, it's very bouncy. The 103 just bounced on him, and that's the good thing about it. It has a very bouncy chassis and hull. That's the same thing. But, and right now he's pushing forward because he did see that the M103 was pulling a little bit back, and he's now going up to help against the Tier 9 E50 and the Pershing. And the important thing to note when he gets up there is not the fact that he keeps on hitting the ground, because he will. That's just because of the accuracy of his gun. But the important thing to note is that he is keeping them lit up for artillery, because they're in a horrible position right now. As you can see, the artillery can hit them straight on. Very bad position they're in, and they should really be thinking about it, because they've been hit by artillery a few times now. And again, the IS-6 just bounced a shot and he hit the ground, but it doesn't matter. He's keeping them lit, and the artillery is going to keep hitting them. So that's the main point here. And the E50 just missed again, and he's going to push up there and fire and get him reasonable lucky shot. It shot low, and he's just gonna sit there. And the E50 gets another bounce on him. The E50 hasn't penetrated at all. Nobody has penetrated except one shot from the 103, was it? And the no, that's not the artillery. It was the ISU from, was that all the way across the map? I think he was over here. I think that's actually him right there. Let's watch. Nope, too far away, can't see it. Anyway, the Pershing is trying to run away, but instead of just running completely away, he stops to aim and gets a shot at him. Easy kill, and the Pershing should have kept moving, then he would have been safe. Completely safe, because the ISU got killed, and well, and low damage roll, or average damage roll, but it was still a little lower than average, so low. I call that low. When you're this close to the M103, you should be going into sniper mode, but he has done a great job so far. So one bounce, two bounces actually, earlier he bounced as well, but one bounce and doing this much help lighting the enemies up, and instead of letting the Tier 9, what was it? It was a T54. Instead of letting him in, keep fighting with them up there and letting him light them, he took on the job. Oh, they just lost two big tanks up top, but they still have the advantage, because up there they have the T28 prototype, and that's a very tough tank. And as you can see, the ISU is down here. Oh, he backs up with his side. He's lucky that it hits the track. You should never just stop and show your side to any tank actually, because as you can see, he just got hit. And I think it was the derp gun on the ISU that he just got hit by, because it was 426, and I don't think it has a gun that does that little damage. Maybe it has. I haven't played it, so maybe. But as you can see, they now only have an IS-3 left and artillery. So let's speed it up a little bit as he gets into the base. There's not much else to think about apart from the IS-3 up there on top, but he has the T28 prototype to worry about and two artilleries. So he has enough support, and the AMX 13 F3AM focuses on the other tanks. So so Salamando, he has a very easy shot at the artillery. Oh, I didn't even mention his name. Salamando. This is El Salamando, everybody. Say hi. My bad. Should have introduced him a lot earlier. And that's the game. Very good teamwork by the entire team. And that was the tanks that we were going to cover in this subscriber replay. And I'll see you next time.